Hello everyone, it's Janine here at my studio space with my K9 partner Pugsley. Um, so today I'm using a lot of different supplies, but I'm doing kind of a mixed media project. But as normal, use what you have, and you can substitute different things that I'm using for other things, and we'll talk about that as the video goes along. But today it's more about my process and like how I get started rather than what I'm actually creating. And here is my Canaan partner Pugsley to say hello to you. There he is today. So to be honest with you today, I wasn't really sure um, what to start creating, but then I thought actually that's a good theme for a video. How do I get started when I'm just not sure what I want to create or where to start? So I personally find the best thing is to just get some paint or whatever medium you're using and just get it onto the paper. And as you're making marks, you kind of respond um, to those marks as you go along. So I knew that I wanted to do something bright and kind of positive and happy. So I started off with bright yellow paint. This is acrylic paint, and then I'm going to add some turquoise in there. And as you can see, I've just um, squeezed the paint straight onto the paper. You don't have to do this. You can use a palette, but I find that this is quite an expressive way that I often like to work. Not always, but just sometimes depending on what techniques I'm doing. But for this, I found that it works well. And I'm just letting the colours blend together and just kind of responding to what's on the page. This can be done by looking at the different shapes that you already have on your page and seeing what might work with them. Also by looking at what colours you have and seeing what might work with those. I'm adding some more bright sort of colours in here, and obviously like the turquoisey blue and the green and the yellow will mix together to make green, so I'm kind of adding green but making it all blend together because it's not going to make mud. And here I'm using the brush to create kind of texture, kind of pouncing it up and down. I think you should be able to see that. Yeah, hopefully you can kind of get them sort of pouncing the brush up and down, but you want to be mindful of what brush you use for this. Don't use your best ever brush just in case you hurt the bristles a bit, but I wasn't precious on this brush, so I've just used it to create a bit of texture. And I found that the colours were almost a bit too intense for me, so I decided I wanted to push them back with some white acrylic paint, but I was being impatient and didn't let this dry, so it didn't let the underneath layers dry, so it started to mingle together and mix together a bit. So while that was still wet, I decided to do some mark making and scrape back into the wet paint. Here I'm actually using what's meant to be a cake decorating tool. You can buy these as actual art tools, but they're a lot more expensive than where I found this cake decorating tool. If you don't have something like this, you could use an old gift card or an old credit card or something, and cut. You could probably cut into it and cut these kind of shapes, but I was using it quite irregularly anyway, so I was kind of overlaying it so it doesn't matter if the lines aren't equally spaced. And now I've let it all dry, and I'm going over it with some white paint again, and this white paint is the same as the paint I used before, but it's actually zinc white. And zinc white, who knew there was different whites, but zinc white is see-through white, so you can probably see when I'm applying the paint, you can still see the layers underneath, and it's just pushing them back a bit. And I think that's another great thing to do, when you're not sure kind of what you're creating, and you're just going ahead like me here and just creating and seeing where it goes. A great technique is layering. then you can, you know, push things back and respond to things as you go along. If you like something, or if you don't like something, you know, you can cover it up a little bit, you know, like this. It doesn't need to be totally covered up, but it just, you know, pushes it back. And now I'm scraping into it again. But yeah, like I say, I'm sure you can find something. If you don't have anything quite like this, I'm sure you can find something around the house. And now I'm actually using a palette here, and I'm using my little sea sponge. And the reason I decided to use a palette was I didn't want to get too much paint on there at once, so I dabbed the sponge off on the side of the palette. And I'm using a sponge because I'd like to create some, you know, different texture. But you know, you could even try doing this with a scrunched up paper towel. But you know, just do what I did and make sure you don't get too much paint, and dab it off at the side. So as you can see here, I've got a scrap bit of paper off to the side, and I'm just dabbing off the excess paint from the sponge on another bit of paper, because I feel like, you know, nothing should go to waste, and I can use this bit of paper at a later date, maybe for some collage or something else, build up layers on that for another project. And as you can see, I also scribble off my Posca paint pen that I'm now starting to use, just to make sure that the ink was flowing okay. So there are lots of ways, obviously, that you can get started on a piece of art when you're not sure where to start. This is just one way that I like to use, and another way, which I think I touched on in a video that I did a couple of weeks ago about lockdown inspired art, is you could start with a brainstorm. That can also be helpful. But I think with this way of starting, I think the key points are, you know, to think about colours, texture, and layers. And also, then when you've done those things, then start to think about how the eye goes across the page, and you know, how the viewer would view the artwork and how it flows. You know, I think as you go along, you can kind of, you know, if you create a texture, then you can kind of almost respond to that texture. You know, you can see I've kind of reflected on mine the textures that I created made with the cake decorating tool. I've then kind of drawn similar lines over the top to create kind of reed and grass shapes. I guess that was kind of my way of responding to the textures that I'd already made. And it just kind of, you know, happens organically as I go along. Yeah, it's not, you know, something that I planned out, obviously. You know, I hope this video helps you, and you know, you feel that you can still create even when you're not really sure where to start. You know, through these videos, as you know, if you've been watching some of my other videos, I like to, well, I'm trying to promote positive mental well-being through art. You know, art is a great way to relax and let off steam. I hope you've all been staying safe and well at this strange time. Here in the UK, they're starting to ease lockdown, but I realise that a lot of people are still, you know, wanting to be very cautious, and still a very different time to normal at the moment, and we're still having to implement social distancing. So yeah, I hope you're all staying well and safe, and you're finding these videos inspiring. Please do subscribe to my channel. I know some people have been a bit confused about the word subscribing on YouTube. You know, the word subscribe, it doesn't mean you need to pay for anything. It's just you just click on the subscribe button, and then that means you'll be kept up to date with the videos that I post. You know, it's free. You just need to set up an account and be able to sign in, and then you can subscribe to any channels you wish to. And also, if you wouldn't mind giving my video a like, that would be very much appreciated. And feel free to leave any comments. I'd love to hear from you and hear any responses that you might have to my video, any questions or anything. It'll be great to hear from you. So yeah, here I'm just drawing in some more reeds in the two corners at the bottom. I like doing this almost kind of like, well, it's not quite a frame, but it like helps to draw the viewer's eye into the picture, I feel personally anyway. So yeah, and then I just going to add a little bit of detail onto the reeds. I'm just adding a few more in here first. And then yeah, here's the detail that I just mentioned. And then I'm just adding a bit more sponging in. I like how you can still see those reeds through the sponging, and it's creating more layers. If you'd like to see other videos like this about how to get started when you want to create some art, do let me know in the comments below, and I'll create another video with some other different ideas that I have, just to kind of like break through the sort of creative block that we sometimes all have. Yeah, let me know in the comments below. I hope this has been useful, and that you find a way that you can apply it to the way that you enjoy doing art personally. And then this is the finished piece. I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you in my next video. Bye for now.